Gary set a high standard for the students to follow. He always shared the success story and let the students learn the value in it, and from there motivates the students not just in terms of academic development but also in terms of character development, and that really makes him different from the rest of the lecturers, and that make him outstanding.
The way I keep them engaged is to have a variety of activities, but very important is after those activities that the students understand why we did that, so that will really enhance their learning.
Gary tends to inject fun in learning, and therefore he's able to make a topic interesting for the students.
How I get them interested is to relate it to daily life. I always like to let them know how it can be useful in their future when they start work or when they start their own business.
I think Loris is an inspiration to students in many ways. She brings her expertise into the classroom and gives a way for students to understand what they need to become to be successful in that world.
I think there are many challenges a lecturer may face or an educator may face, and one of the main ones would be how to inspire students to be more self-directed, more motivated, more confident and responsible in their own learning. We also need to be aware that within a class there may be students with different levels of knowledge, different attention spans and learning inclinations. So we have to consider these when we do our delivery.
Loris primes students' interest in learning by providing problem sets for students to solve as individuals and in groups that have real-world significance and relevance.
I think it's very important to provide a safe space for students to express themselves openly and boldly. I think the use of micro-affirmations and to be inclusive, be patient, and not to be critical at all. Try to engage students in active learning and never lose your enthusiasm, even with the most boring topic.
He understands their needs and he addresses their needs in very systematic and holistic ways. He understands how to use technology in the educational space, especially over the last couple of years with COVID and the move to fully online. So he understands the way to motivate people in a discipline, in a social world.
Some of the techniques I think I would really recommend is to do a mental visualization of the classroom. One of the things about today's students is that they are digital natives. So I find that especially the last 2 years, engaging with them not through the lecture slides but through mobile devices is one of the best ways to actually reach out to them.
He does that at individual and group levels and motivates students to communicate in their process of learning, becoming, and in their growth as a professional individual.
What I try to do is to maintain open communication with them through email, WhatsApp, Telegram, or any other forms of communication which they are comfortable with. The first thing I think is never judged. Making the student engage through activities that are formative in nature, quizzes and discussion questions, makes them participate, and that process itself makes them learn even more deeper context of the questions, of the topics, of the knowledge.
She's always energetic, engaging, and encouraging. It is difficult for students not to reciprocate by putting more effort if they are taught by a committed lecturer like Mabel. She also encourages students to look for real-life examples that apply the theories learned in class. The purpose is to get the students to see the context before diving into theories.
I think it's important to always remember why I teach, and that's why I can have passion throughout, passion that lasts me throughout all my teaching journey, because it is the purpose behind why I do what I do. So I often tell them that the process of struggle is the learning process. That as part of the learning, they are meant to struggle in order to ensure that I also am well aware that they are learning what they're supposed to be learning and they're able to apply it well. I am quite deliberate in making sure that I incorporate a lot of small and big review points.
Students like the way she makes her lessons enjoyable, fun, and interactive. Many of her students share that they always look forward to attending her lessons each week.
Motivation theory is one of my main tenets of teaching and my teaching design. I make it very clear, very explicit to them why we are learning this.
The quality that stands out to make Ka Piao excellent as a lecturer is his down-to-earth, efficient, and approachable manner. He tries every possibility to make his lesson easy to follow, fun, and enjoyable. To his students, Ka Piao is more like a senior sharing a wealth of knowledge and experience than a lecturer teaching a set of materials.
So for me, the way to keep students engaged and be interested in my subject is to develop case study and projects that they can see will help them in their career.
Another approach that his students like is his effective use of practical, real-life examples to enrich the learning of abstract concepts. Most importantly, he blends the theories and practice in an easily understood manner, which makes learning straightforward without sacrificing theoretical depth.
We have to give them a lot of practices, challenges, so that they will try to overcome some of these difficult questions. And by doing that, they will naturally develop their interest in the subject.
Contact always try to listen from the view of the student, and eventually he will be able to coach them so that they will get into the right direction.
I believe that if I could understand my students better, I could actually teach them and help them better.
He will be able to marry the strength between theory and practice, and by doing so, then the students will feel more enthusiastic to understand what they will be learning.
Questioning is actually very important. What I do is I will make sure that I acknowledge each of their answers and I give positive feedback on each of the answers, no matter whether they answer the questions fully or they just answer it partly.
Usha's strengths are, as I mentioned, her subject area knowledge, so her ability to present the material in a very organized and a structured way helps the students to cope with a very, very heavy course load.
So I tend to use the discussion board on our learning system, and students enjoy that because it engages them in each other's work.
Usha is the kind of person who leads by example. Usha, through her own brilliance as a communicator, as an instructor of the course, really helps to inspire the students how to do well, how to keep up with their assignments, and how to excel in them.
Relating it to the local context and getting them to think about how it affects themselves or the local community. I try very hard to encourage them by acknowledging, by affirming them for their contribution and getting other students to comment on what somebody has said. So there's a kind of extension of the conversation. So it doesn't just end with one student providing a comment, but it's built on by other students.